and I think now the tournament really starts. Now the women's season really the tournament
I
starts
agree.
because now you can't really hide from nobody. Now it's like, okay, we know the dogs are now.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Throwdown Thursday edition, every week in the month of March, it's all about the women's tournament. They get their time to shine. So in segment one, the best, the worst, and most exciting things about the women's opening round of the tournament. In segment two, our story of the week is it's about dadgum time that we've got some good treatment here. And in segment three, we're going to talk about the Final Four and if our brackets are still good. So with us today, Captain for Life Will Cotton has joined us, and our coach's coach of the year every year, Alfred Johnson's with us. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The best thing I've seen all opening weekend of the tournament is that greatness is in front of us. UConn
Yes.
women put on a clinic. South
Yes.
Carolina put on a clinic. All of the schools who are good, the women are top heavy. Okay, it's like 80s basketball in the Big East. St. John's, Georgetown, they're going to bring it, and they are bringing their best. That's the best thing I've seen. Coach Johnson, opening round of the women's tournament. What's the best thing you've seen so far?
Well, what the best thing was the fact that South Carolina opened up with a 69-point win. UConn said we're not going to be outdone. They end up winning by 70 plus. LSU didn't trail far behind that with the whipping they put on somebody. I just thought that was unbelievable. And again, it shows you, especially in the women game, how top heavy the top 25 programs are from everybody else in the country. It was unbelievable. And listen, it was no offense to any of their opponents. They just were that much better.
Yeah.
They were that much better.
Will, what is the best thing you've seen in the opening week for the women's tournament?
The probably the best. I mean, you guys already saw these amazing scoring. I mean, 100 points. I mean, good God, like
Yes.
it's amazing. But I'm gonna say probably one of the best things that I saw was Audi Crooks. She took a team.
Okay.
They beat Princeton in the first I guess the playing game, and then she had like 28-7, and she lost, but she still played very well. I think she still had like they lost by what 6? They lost by 6 to Michigan, but she still played very well. It's going to be a big name that we're going to hear the next iteration of women's college basketball players because she is just getting started, man. I think she's going to be a junior this year coming up. She's going to be her. Obviously, Juju, who had a great game, played through toughness. Got messed the ankle. Still played 22, 8 and 7. Like, man, these ladies are balling, man. They are plump. They are balling right now. They are balling right now, and that it speaks to why nobody's watching the NIT no more. Everybody's watching the women's tournament.
All right. So I'm going to be in the minority, I'm sure of this. Worst thing I've seen is the fact that, and I know why they're doing it, but I don't like it anymore. They're hosting these games in home gyms of the better seed. South Carolina's hosted, University of Maryland hosted. And I'm just wishing the women will get to the point where they can hold their tournament similar to the men in neutral site arenas. For example, in the DC metro area, we have like the Showplace Arena, and the Showplace Arena seats, like 12, 15,000, something like about 12,000. You could have packed that. So it's local, but it's neutral. There's a lot of different arenas that may not be, Madison Square Garden, but it's a neutral site, but it's in the region. So yes, it makes for a great atmosphere in South Carolina and all of that. but I want a little more neutrality in that. That's the worst thing for me. And I'm probably in the minority because the fans give a great atmosphere, all of that stuff. But man, it's really not there yet until we've got these neutral locations for me. Will, what's the worst thing you've seen with the women's tournament?
I think in conjunction with what you said, I think we need a word to like. Not only do we have really not good,
Opening
what we
round
call yeah
games.
opening round game, very top heavy. Every seed was going to want the higher seed won every game, except there was one game, maybe I think a 10 beat a 7, but for the most part, every high seed beat the lower seed. And it's amazing. And I think now the tournament really starts. Now the women's season really the tournament
I
starts
agree.
because now you can't really hide from nobody. Now it's like, okay, we know the dogs are now. And we get the people who are happy, they're gone. Nice. Hey, I hope you're happy, but let's really go. But yeah, that was the worst thing is that, they had this like really lackluster opening week, and that's usually like the best week for the men. So, like you said, coach, maybe they can get that level of play up and they have better teams as a total, and then we can kind of move from there and say, okay, well, now it's a really good spectacle. Let's find a place to really make it even more and things like that. I'm with you. I'm not wasting money if I'm going to blow out a team by 60. Why y'all can just come to my house.
Right.
Why I gotta fly anywhere and beat you by 60. So I kind of understand, but we'll see. But yeah, that's probably the worst thing I saw
Yeah.
this week.
Coach, what's the worst thing you've seen in the opening weekend of the women's tournament?
I didn't think too much of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Until you two guys mentioned about the home court advantage, I really didn't see any. The only thing that I thought about again was that actually was it worse, but the travel arrangements were better this year.
Yeah.
Travel was better this year for the women. Hotel was better. And I thought that was a huge upgrade. Again, if anything's the worst, it is the fact that there's not enough good players in terms outside of the top 25.
Yeah.
There are some good,
and that's what we mean by top heavy. Coach Johnson nailed it right there.
Right.
Top heavy
There's
means
some good players,
but 10 teams that can win
Right.
this thing.
I mean, listen, I tell my young guys all the time, there are young ladies at the top 25 schools better than the guys at the end of my bench. I mean, these young ladies can flat out play.
Yeah. All right. So for me, the most exciting thing is the name brand. It was great to see Paige out there. Easy. Yes. This was just running free, healthy. Juju. By the way, Will, Juju would not have been in that game if I was coaching.
Oh yeah,
go on, sit down, girl. You good?
Yeah,
but I love stars, man. I love that the stars are stars.
That'd have been the D Night show. That'd have been the Brookins show.
Tell you who's scary for a freshman? Sarah Strong.
Yes,
she is going to be super.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of that, Coach, what's the most exciting thing you saw opening weekend?
The fact that the coaches were so competitive at the top schools. Okay. I mean, they were deep in concentration, competitive. They weren't worried about, at the men game, we had to worry about people complaining about you running it up. The women don't give a crap about that.
Yeah, right.
They just flat out beat the daylights out you, and it's the end of the day.
Beat you bad. Yeah. Beat you bad. Yeah. All right. Will, what's the most exciting thing you've seen in the women's tournament opening weekend?
Coach is probably the same thing. Every team that has something to show said, "Oh, 100? All right, I got you."
That's exactly.
Right. And it would, and it wouldn't be like what, he'd be like, "Oh, I got you. Well, here's 107. All right, well, here's 101." They go, I'm like, good God, like,
they like Coach Adams telling the bench, "All right, Sixers, let's win the game." No,
they were. No, everybody 1 through 12 was dogging. Everybody was, bow, press. Like, man, come on, bro. But I love it, man. The competition, man, I love it. And the best thing is, nobody was crying.
Nah,
Nobody was like,
that's
well,
true.
they could have left it up, or they beat us pretty bad. When they got to 80, it's like, nah, man, look, you got beat. Look, it
They
is what
taking
it is.
pictures with South Carolina.
Yeah, they take a picture with Juju, my mom loves you. My mom loves you.
It's like the Dream Team in '92.
That's exactly right.
It's like
Yeah.
crazy. Like Angola, losing by 50. All right. So fans, in segment 2, Dream Team reference. In segment 2, we're going to talk about It's About Time. It's about time the women get these units, get this publicity. We're going to celebrate in segment 2. We'll be right back on the iCoach Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real-life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.ckasafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the iCoach Podcast. In segment 2, the story of the tournament. It's about time. So, beyond charter flight, which is great. Beyond hotel accommodation, great. Beyond the coveted swag bags, which is great. For the first time, fans, women's teams are getting what is called an individual share of the profits. And that is a perk the men's team have enjoyed for years. Each women's team in the tournament will get a unit. That's what it's called. And that is money paid to the conference when one of its teams appears in the NCAA tournament. So the more your team wins from your conference, the more the conference gets money and the more you get back. And even the Ivy Leagues had 3 teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, Will, any thoughts about the women finally getting units, which is one of the ways the men's tournament helps programs, and the SEC is doing really, really well.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I think the money is flowing. You can't have stupid stuff like, oh well, they trapped at the airport, or we're hungry and we want this to that. So all these things are happening. Now it's like, oh, we're running these ads. These ads cost us millions of dollars. Yeah, Tennessee going to be there. You know what I'm saying? We can't afford and UConn not be there on time. I can't have Notre Dame sitting in the airport looking at people taking pictures and saying, oh, they can't even get a plane. They can't even fly, and they got to fly out and they got to play. That looks bad. So, if anything, you need to treat them like real business and get them going where they need to go at the minimum. But ever since then, you can add in other stuff, because obviously now as they become such a bigger brand, and your name is, Paige Buckets, or your name is Juju, and we've seen with Caitlin Clark's security. There's a lot of weirdos out here. And, you seeing these dudes, but like, she was infatuated with Caitlin Clark. And you see the guy, and he's some like 47-year-old man, with the Unabomber hair all on the feet, looking crazy. You have to protect these ladies too, because there's some crazy people out there. So, I think that puts him in a good spot because one, money will keep them protected and kind of secluded from things, and things will go a lot faster. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be acted like a real business. Like, okay, we have a Saturday, a Saturday afternoon game. I need to get home Friday night because there's a process that has to go from here to here so we can play our bet. So yeah, I love it, man. Keep giving them the money. And again, it's not to pay them, it's to improve their process to give a better product. That's what it is. So go for them, get more. Let's get some more money. Why not? Let's keep doing it.
All right, I got my assistant athletic director here. Coach, go ahead, buddy.
Well, he also raised a great point about security and protection. I mean, not too long ago, some man, older guy, also flew cross country on Page.
Yeah,
they had to get a restraining order and so forth. This is serious stuff. These young ladies have to be protected. They have to be. So again, I agree with you. The NCAA has the money. They are putting out a product that people want to see and are appreciative of. Let's protect them.
Yes. All right. So fans, in segment 3, we're going to talk about the Final Four. Only got 1 2 seed. We'll see who everybody else is. We'll be right back on the Out Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches Podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. My Final Four is still intact. I've got UCLA, UConn, South Carolina, and Texas. Will, how's your Final Four looking on the women's side, sir?
Still looking good. Everyone I said was going to win so far. So maybe I'll start getting the shake up as we go through the tournament, but everybody won. They should have put out the spread out better. It'd have been a lot harder to put the spread out. No, you couldn't even bet like money line for UConn, Alabama State or whatever. Oh no. Well, all I did was basically like the money line for the bracket. So right now it's just easy money right now. But they should have put up the ads up there to make it a little better. But everything's intact.
Coach Johnson, how's your Final Four looking for the women?
Again, I don't really have a Final Four. I have South Carolina winning the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Okay.
I mean, I just think that, again, they're talent, but I think they have a chip on their shoulder, and they play extremely well with a chip on their shoulder. But with that said, I think UConn is the most talented team.
I want that South Carolina UConn final. That's the ratings I want. I want that rematch, especially
after those two as well.
UConn boat race South Carolina in their own spot. So
sure did.
Well, I will not be in Tampa, but I will definitely be in San Antonio for the men's Final Four, conducting active research on student athletes and coaches, preparing for the post grad. And yes, we will have a women's team for the post grad, doing a lot of homework on who they could play. I know they can play junior college teams, but I really want to do some more research on the availability of gameplay for post grad for our young women. And I get to hang out with our favorite administrator, Robert Abney. In addition, the CKA Safe Project and the Our Coaches Podcast will host an Elite Eight watch party for those of you in the District,
Good.
Maryland, and Virginia, the DMV. We will be at the Green Turtle in Burtonsville, or as we like to say, the Paint Branch Turtle. So come on through if you're there. Suggested donation $50, and it'd be great to have people out. And finally, today is our 600th episode of the Odd Coaches Podcast. And on a personal level, I like to reflect to our core four. Sharita Campbell, Folleran's wife, is the voice of our show. And when we did the opening that was really fancy back in the day, like the Odd Couple, she read the opening, and then Kelly, our super producer, kind of said, all right, we're moving towards cutting it. So you'll hear Sharita's voice on the back end. But she used to say on today's Odd Coaches Podcast. So we used to set it up different. Our super producer, Kelly. So Kelly and I met through like Fiverr or Fiverr or whatever it is. And he's not even a sports fans. Okay. He's a casual guy. He's a country music DJ, but has one of the purest hearts. And he said to me, and Will, you'll crack up, he still won't call me Keith. He calls me Dr. Adam all the time. And he said, it was like the third episode where we talked about our kids, and we did a Father's Day episode or something. And he said, this is not like a regular job anymore. We got something here. And he always looks to make it better. We're not on Opus clips if it's not for Kelly. We don't have short clips if it's not for Kelly. We don't have all the hits and all of these things if it wasn't for Kelly. And that's why we call him the super producer. Nod to my 80s hip hop stuff. And finally, I want to say to my tag team partner, Coach Mike Franchise Francis. So fans, he's fine. He's just admin now. And when you're admin, you don't have time on a Sunday to be sitting around with your friends talking about the show. Okay. Right. You got planning, you got lessons, you got observations. He's in grad school. So Mike and I talk like always. It's just, I'm not going to hog him. And that's the beautiful thing about, this show. Guys come in, come out, but it's all good, man. So I'm just so grateful to keep doing this. And most podcasts, as Kelly would tell you, they don't last long. And now we have a brand, and people look forward to like listening to us. And Will has people following him on social media and responding to what he's doing. One of Will's TikToks had like over 1,000 hits, and that still fascinates me. Now, Point Five, our intern, was like, yeah, I get more than that. I'm like, that's okay. We used to get two. So I'm 52 years old. I'm still learning this stuff. So Coach Johnson, you came in on the last quarter shows, and you make us better because you're still in the belly of the beast. You're still coaching. So we get live bullets with you. We get a championship level coach accessible to us every week. Any thoughts as we hit 600 episodes?
I'm just appreciative to be included in this thing here. It's wonderful. It's something I share with my players, and it's something I look forward to in terms of talking about the game currently, and listen to the stories of you and Coach John Thompson and others. So, yeah, I love it. Thank you.
All right. And again, the last time Will played a meaningful contest for me was March of 2004. Okay. And that says something about our relationship. And it's always been conversation over confrontation. And to, again, be able not only to talk to Will, but to have Son of Festus, that's my name for following because we miss his dad. His dad's awesome. It's unique. And our story is a national story because coaches and players. Will tell some stories offline about how other coaches in his life he probably wouldn't talk to, and as he and Fowler would talk to other players from other teams, I don't talk to my high school coach. Screw him. And the Bodie came in. Blah blah blah. So, Will, any final thoughts? I'm gonna let you take us out with our 600th episode because, yeah, we're weird, and the nation sees how weird we are, I guess.
Oh, it was awesome. I'll tell everybody when I first started at Springbrook, there was a lot of coaches. They were kind of like, all right, they're cool. I played AAU with my uncle, so I always had like that kind of relationship with a coach. Then coach came in here, man, and we weren't exactly, I remember the first thing he said to me, and I don't know how this relationship started, but he's saying to me, he has everybody over to the mid court, and then he brings the individual player over here, and he kind of keeps it quiet with you and says, "Hey, you made the team, great job.
Colorado
great
hit
job."
3 with 6 seconds to go. They up 1.
Oh, I told you, it happens. The game winners, they always lose to them. But yeah, so coach told me, he's like,
he was too wide open.
Yep, told you. But coach says every time, man, he bring you over, and he said, so the first thing he said to me was, he was like, man, for real, like if you didn't play JV, you probably wouldn't have made the team. He was like, and I'll probably keep you in the joint because everybody seems to be friends with you and things like that. But he's like, I don't know if there's a lot of minutes for you. And that's where our relationship started. That's where our friendship did. And I thought he was a son of cuss, and I was telling them and and I told my father about it, and I wanted to transfer, and I can go to Blake and other stuff and play. And he was like, nah, man, you have a good coach because that's now you want to play hard. So the relationship has been amazing, and again, I grew up in the era with, PTI and the sports reporters,
Right.
and around the horn when things got really popular. Before they had First Take, it was cold pizza for people, things like that. And they would just banter back and forth. And I would just love stuff like that, just back and forth. You're wrong, I'm right. I love your, point of view, or I wasn't thinking about that, or interesting like that. So it's been the best way to connect with people. It's the best way to connect, man. So it's just crazy. And I'm glad. And, Coach Johnson, didn't I tell you? Maryland, the only way they're going to lose is what?
You just said that. You said that. I just can't believe how open he was.
It's part of their mantra.
The joy of taping during March Madness. So, on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams. This is pretty typical for our shows. That's how Coach Franchise and we were just talking, stuff's going on. So I'm kind of warm with that. I guess Franchise is watching. So again, on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. Shout out to our friends in the Cascade Sports Network and What's Up Kansas City. And we will see you on the sidelines for another 6, 12, 1,800 shows. We'll see what happens. Take care.
Take care, gentlemen.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.